So let's look at drawing the graph of this function here, y equals x cubed minus 3x minus 2. Now we know we have to start with this value of 2, so we're looking for the factors of 2, so it's going to be a value of 1 and a value of 2. So 1 times 2 is 2 and 2 times 1 is 2, and it's plus or minus. So let's do the synthetic division in order to factorise this. So we draw out our little setup here for our synthetic division. We take the coefficients of these, so the coefficients of x cubed is 1, the coefficients of x squared is 0, the coefficients of x is minus 3, and the coefficient of here is minus 2, so that's just the minus 2. So we're going to start off with the value of 1, and we're looking to get 0 here. So if we get 0, we know that 1 is a root of this. Okay, so we have 1 times 1 is 1, and we add that up, we get 1. 1 times 1 is 1, and we add this up and we're going to get a value of minus 2, and we've got 1 times minus 2 is minus 2, we add up, we get minus 4, so that's not going to give us the right answer. So we can go back and we can rub this out. Now in the case here I'm rubbing this out, but you could just draw it out again. So we'll have to work our way through until we can get the right value. So let's try a value of 2. So we put in 2 here and we start with our 1. So 2 times 1 is 2, add them up. 2 times 2 is 4, we add them up, and that's going to give us a value of 1. 2 times 1 is 2, we add them up. 2 minus 2 plus 2 is 0. So we've got 0 there now, so we know that the value of 2 is a root, so therefore we know one of the factors is going to be x minus 2. Now you can see from here the other factor, and the other factor is going to be the value of x squared plus 2x plus a value of 1. Now we can further factorise this here, so we'll write it out. I'll write it out down here. So we're going to have our x minus 2, and we're going to have the 2 brackets here. Now we will begin on at the quadratic equation section, which is the next section we're covering about just factorising these. So, but in order to factorise that, we're going to have our x here and our x here, and we're going to have a value of 1 and a value of 1. So it's going to multiply together to give a value of 1, and this 2 at the centre have to add in order to get a value of 2x. So you can see here you're going to have plus 1 and plus 1. So you're going to have x squared plus x is plus 2x, and 1 plus 1 is a value of 1. So these here are the factors of the polynomial here. So we can say, if we were to draw it out just roughly for the moment, that we're going to get, in this instance here, we're going to get a repeated root. So we could actually write that as x minus 2 and x plus 1 all squared. So this one here is a repeated root. So whenever you see a repeated root, what it means is it's turning on, it just touches the x-axis. So in this case here, it's going to cross the x-axis at a point 2. So I say it's 1, 2, so it's going to cross at this point here, and it's going to cross at a point of minus 1, but it's going to be a repeated root at minus 1, so this is minus 1 here. So it's either going to be going up like this or down like this here, and it's going to be crossing this point here either this way or that way, but we just don't know at the moment, so we've got to investigate a little bit further. So we can find out where it cuts the y-axis. It cuts the y-axis whenever x is equal to 0. So I'll just work our way down here. So it says cuts y-axis when x is equal to 0. So when x is equal to 0, we're going to just have our 0 minus 2 times 0 plus 1 all squared. So it's going to be minus 2 times 1, which is equal to minus 2. So the point it crosses the y-axis is going to be a value of 0 minus 2. So we can go 0 and go minus 2 here. So it cuts the axis here. Now we also want to find out where the turning point is, so we've got to use a little bit of our differentiation to find the turning point. So we get a turning point whenever f derivative of x is equal to 0. So let's differentiate the function. So the function's 3x squared. So whenever we differentiate, that's going to give us 3x squared minus 3. Okay, so we're going to have 3x squared minus 3 is equal to a value of 0. So when is it equal to 0? Well, it's going to equal to 0 whenever 3x squared equals 3, or x squared is equal to a value of 1, or when x is equal to plus or minus 1. Now we can see here that we know that there's a turning point here at minus 1 because it cuts this axis here, so it's either going to go like this or this. Now it could be a point of inflection as well, but we're not covered that, so we're not going to do that at the moment. So it's either this one or this one here. So let's have a look and we'll see the y coordinate of the turning point at point 1. So we know whenever x is equal to minus 1, the turning point is going to be a value of minus 1, 0. So that's just this point here. But we're interested in finding the y coordinate of the other turning point. So the other turning point is whenever x is equal to minus 1. So whenever x is equal to x is equal to 1, so when x is equal to 1, we just put 1 into this here. So we're going to get a value of 1, so it will be 1 cubed, which is 1, minus 3 is minus 2, minus the other 2 will give us a value of minus 4. So it means that the other turning point is going to be along 1 and down minus 4. So we can put these two values into our little sketch above. So we know that we're going to have along 1 and down 4 as a turning point here. Minus 4, so it's along 1 down minus 4. So we know that the curve's got to come down like this. If it comes down to that point, that's a turning point, then it must be coming up through like that. And we know if it's coming from this point here up through, and it's going to be a point that just touches, it must just touch like this here, and it must be heading down in this direction. So this is a rough sketch of our curve here, and we can say here that if this is our x-axis, that's our y-axis, then we've got all our points here. We've got the turning point here is along 1 down minus 4, and we have our other points here, which is our point that cuts the axis here. So the point that cuts the axis here is going to be along 2 up 0, and this point here where we get the repeated root is going to be minus 1, 0. And we also know it cuts the y-axis at 0 minus 2, 0 minus 2. So this is a rough and ready kind of sketch. But what we could do is we'll draw it out actually in the graphical calculator and see if we do actually get this shape. So let's go and do that now. So our function is going to be x cubed minus 3x minus 2. So let's check the points out. We have a repeated root there at minus 1, 0, and we have a crossing point there at 2, 0. We've got a turning point there at 1, minus 4, and it crosses the y-axis at 0, minus 2. So we got it correct, it does work.